Hello team, welcome back to the second series of CISM, and we would like to continue from the implementing the security strategy because that is the next section of my continuation of my first series. So once we get an approval based on the business case from the management, what next? We need to implement the security strategy. So for that, what are the activities we need to perform? The first thing is establish and maintain the information security policy. See, information security policy is a driving factor for any organization. If you wish to introduce any system in the organization, it is always start with the policy first. Example, if you want a BCP in the organization, we need a contingency policy. We want an incident management in the organization, so people should follow incident management practice. It need to become through a policy because policy is the governance of an organization. Policy is the constitution of an organization. Policy is basically you can say a commitment intent of the management. That is why any system, any strategy you want to introduce in the organization, it should be backed and support through the policy. So establish and maintain information security policy. That is why we required to drive any strategy in the organization. As a security consultant, if I say, hey guys, I just joined the organization, every system must be protected with a password, no one will follow that. But the same statement, same commitment come from the management in a form of documented order and all that. That is a policy. They have to abide with that. That is why whenever we want any information security activities in the organization to be drive, first we need to create a policy for that. And a good policy is the one which align with the business objective and enterprise goal. Remember that. Now, question is how to communicate the policy. Who does what? Okay, I can give you an example here. Every system must be protected with the password. That is the intent of the management, which is called as a policy. Okay, that is called as a policy. That every system must be protected with the password. But the question is that how to convey that statement, because it's just a very high level statement you said. So, okay, every system must be protected with the password. The password must be 8 characters. So this is called as a standard. How to create that 8 character password? We need a procedure. That is called as a detailed procedure. Good to adopt any kind of a baseline for hardening the system. And when you're creating a 8 character password, make sure start with the alphanumeric, a strong character. That is a guideline. So standard is mandatory, procedure is mandatory, baseline is mandatory, but guideline is optional. Policy should include the scope. Policy should include the background. Without that, you cannot drive anything. Now, who does what? It is also very important because once you basically create a policy, you need to also define the responsibility matrix. Okay, so it's very important to define the responsibility matrix. And that is why the next part is defining responsibility. Data owner, data custodian, and user. Okay, so data owner is the ultimate accountable for his data. He is in a position who can determine the value of the data. And data custodian is the one who manages the data on behalf of data owner. Now, next thing is, let me rub this. Next is that establish, monitor, evaluate, and report key information security metrics. See, it's very important to define the metrics. See, policy has been created. It is also implemented, but the question is that how to measure whether it is effective. So without security metrics, we cannot do that. So we need to establish, monitor and evaluate and report the key information security metrics which provide the visibility to the management about the effectiveness of the information security strategy. One example I can give you. With the help of information security strategy, we have implemented the incident management system in the organization. Previous year, we able to report 70 incidents in a day. Example, okay, 70 incidents in a day. Now, after the security awareness training, which is a part of an information security objective, it is increased by 140. Okay, that is the effectiveness of the training. Until unless we don't have a matrix, we can't measure this particular values. So we have a matrix in place by which we can able to measure the effectiveness of the security awareness training. And that is one of the requirement of a strategy. That is why we say strategy should be supported and implemented with the help of security matrix. And security matrix, the only way to measure the effectiveness of the information security strategy in the organization. Now, next thing is that you must review the overall information security governance. Okay, from an organization perspective, information security governance is increasingly critical as depend on how the information has grown in the organization. Okay, so the importance of information security governance that is required, an outcome of the information security governance. So what is the outcome of the information security governance? The objective of information security governance is to develop, implement, and manage the security program that basically achieve. Okay, effective information security governance is the responsibility of the board of director. Always remember, they are accountable and responsible for the information security governance. And information security governance is the subset of the corporate governance. When we're talking about the effective information security governance, we also need to define the risk capacity and the risk appetite. See, we have three terms here. Okay, we have a risk capacity, we have a risk appetite, and we have a risk tolerance. Now my salary is $2,000. I'm planning to invest my $700 in the fund. So here the $700 is basically my appetite. But there is a probability if I find a good funds and all that, I might increase my budget to 740. So that is basically my tolerance. So when you're creating an information security governance with that objective, also we need to define the risk capacity and risk appetite, because ultimate goal is to bring the risk below the appetite level, and the representation of the residual risk is become a risk appetite. Okay, I'm sorry for that. When talking about the risk which is below the appetite level, okay, or after implementing a control, that basically risk is called as a residual risk, and the representation of a residual risk is called as a acceptable risk. It is very important to define the scope and charter of the information security governance. That basically define the visibility. Okay, because it is important that scope and responsibility of information security are clearly set forth and also reflected in the policy. Next is also very important for the overall governance is we need a clear visibility about governance, risk management, compliance. Always remember governance come first, because it is a set of direction which execute the risk management so that we can compliance with the legal regulatory requirement. Next thing, when you're talking about the roles and responsibility, it is very important to have a good understanding of the RACI matrix: responsibility, accountability, consult, and informed. Okay, who does what, you must know from the exam point of view. You also need to understand the core responsibility of the risk management. Always remember, ultimate goal of a risk management is to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. And managing risk effectively at the acceptable cost, it is the primary objective of the security governance. But who is ultimately responsible for the risk management? The answer is senior management. Governance of a third-party relationship is also very important. It means I am basically dealing with Amazon, or I am dealing with any other vendor. Okay, so how we drive the relation, how the governance will be drive between the two companies, contract review, audits, review the policies. So that is all about the governance of the third-party relationship, which is always a biggest challenge for the information security manager. What are the challenges? How to address? That is testable in the exam. Next part is information security governance matrix. Matrix is defined as a quantifiable. This is the statement which is very important from the exam point of view. It is quantifiable, not qualitative. Is it clear? So matrix is defined as a quantifiable entity. We are using the matrix to measure the achievement of the defined goal. If I say information security is effective, can you give me the evidence? We have a matrix by which we have reduced the impact. So question is, what is the principle of the effective security matrix? It must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be attainable, it should be relevant, it should be timely, which is called as a SMART. And the governance implementation matrix is very important to measure the overall effectiveness of the governance. The next part is called as an information security strategy overview. When we're developing information security strategy, we consider several aspects. Okay, but we also have some pitfalls. You need to have a good understanding of the pitfalls. Information security strategy objectives start with the goal. We need to define the objectives, and we should also define the desired state. It means what we need to achieve. So between the current state and desired state, we used to perform a gap assessment, and based on that we create a strategy. When we're building a strategy, we need to also determine the current state of the security. So where we need to define the current risk and the BIA. BIA is all about identifying the priority of the processes, what need to be recovered and how quickly we can recover. BIA also give me the visibility about the criticality of the resources. How critical is that? Another important thing you must know about elements of the strategy. What are the important elements are required for the strategy? And most important topic in domain 1 is the strategy, resource and constraint. Whenever you're creating any strategy, what are the challenges you face? What are the issues you are facing? Like legal challenge, regulatory challenge, company ethics challenge, company facility, company environment, culture. Make sure when you're reviewing the domain 1, you should have a good understanding of the strategy, resources and constraint. So what are the strategic resources we have? Policy and standard. Without that, things cannot be work. Enterprise information security architecture, because architecture build the solution. Based on that, we basically adopt the controls. Then controls apply on the technology, which is followed by the people, which is introduced in the organization structures and employee roles and responsibilities. So you must have a good understanding of the organization structure. You must have a good understanding of the enterprise information security architecture, which talk about your desired state. It gives you the visibility. According to that, you will integrate the process. You must know the employer roles and responsibility. So what are the strategy constraints we have? Different type of strategy constraints. You must know from the domain 1 point of view. What is the action plan to implement the strategy after learning that strategy constraint? That is another important thing you must know from the exam point of view. And overall information security program objective. So for most organizations, the security objective is met when information is available, usable when required. It means availability. It should be observed and disclosed to only authorized, which is called confidentiality. And information is protected against the unauthorized modification, which is called as integrity. And overall, it creating a value for the stakeholders. If you introducing any practice which address the CIA, it met your information security program objective. So this is all from my side. If you have not watched my primary CISM introduction video, must watch that video in which I have covered how to read questions, what are the important areas, and that give you visibility. And if you like this session, please do share your feedback in the comment box. I will soon launch the part 2 if you like the part 1, which is called as a domain 2. Okay, so if you find this useful, do share your response. I will definitely work on the domain 2 based on the response. Thank you.